everyone, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Make It Great. Today we have our lovely guest, Anna Sutter.
Hello.
Great friend of mine.
Yes.
Yeah, we've known each other for a very long time.
Very long
It's
time.
kind of crazy.
Almost 30 years. Kind of.
30 years.
Over 25.
Over
definitely.
25 sounds good. I know I sent you a picture the other day on Christmas. That
Yeah.
was me, you, and my sister sitting
Yes.
in a tree. So basically, we were neighbors for many years down in good old Hanover, Indiana.
Yep. Next door neighbors.
Next door neighbors. Like,
Yeah.
literal next door neighbors.
Yeah,
And you were
yeah.
my sister's best friend.
Yes.
And I thought the both of you were super freaking annoying.
Yep. That's
And
what
that's
little
okay.
sisters
That's
do.
that's what it's
Yeah.
for.
Yep.
But
Yep.
look at us now.
Yeah,
Now
we were
we're
definitely.
sitting by this nice fire. Look at this homey look, by the way. I've upgraded a couple things. It's just gonna be constant change, I feel like, as I figure out what best looks.
That should be the
good
vibe,
for us.
though. Always change.
I've changed a lot of things over my life. I've moved a lot, so.
I'm actually excited to even be here because I feel like the first time we talked about this back in the spring of last year, this was a huge goal for you. So it's exciting to actually be on it.
I appreciate you kind of okay, you need to do this, and laying out steps and and it's made me accountable. I really like having somebody that holds me accountable because I do throw out, as you know, a lot of ideas.
Yes.
And having somebody be like, okay, well, what are you going to do to get to that point?
Yes, you have awesome ideas and goals and the vision for what your future looks like, especially professionally. And I think it's hard. I mean, we're also both Capricorns.
Capricorn season!
Capricorn season!
Suck it.
Yes, yeah. But I know that there are a lot of usually small steps that go into getting to that goal.
Yes.
And if we don't talk about those small steps and work those out, the big goal typically is never achieved.
You gotta take the baby steps in order to get that big stuff. So obviously, if you don't know Anna, she is.
Yes.
We're just jumping into things.
Sorry,
but I can give a little breakdown.
Yeah.
You, like we said, were neighbors. And
we were neighbors, yeah.
You know, we were growing up, didn't really talk to each other. You started getting tattooed by me again.
Yep, because I had moved up to Indianapolis for college.
You went to Butler for education? Was it
Well, no, that was my second degree. I'm a smarty.
Wish I could do that.
No, my bachelor's degree is in psychology, and then my master's degree is in school counseling, which is an education degree.
Yep. And then you got a job. We don't have to skip. We can skip all the little stuff.
No, but I started getting tattooed by you when I moved up here.
Yes.
And I remember at the time, it's kind of strange to think back then, but I remember you were just, your sister's older brother. You're Emily's older brother.
And you were just
getting tattooed by me.
I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh my gosh, here's a friend from. It's like, oh, this person's getting tattooed by me now is like a weird. It was like a time traveling type thing.
It was definitely a time
traveling.
traveling.
But then knowing you as an adult and stuff is obviously different.
Is very different, yeah. And then after grad school, I got a job in education for 5 years, and I continued to get tattooed by you every now and then. And then I quit, and you very quickly, I think it was within a month of me quitting. You said, "Hey, you used to be in education. You think I have a project for you?"
I don't even know what my thought was. I think it was just I knew how organized and intelligent, obviously, and just how well-rounded you are. I was like, I wonder if this person needs a job, and I've been looking for somebody originally would Instagram message, Facebook, do all this stuff that, replying to people to get tattooed, and I was increasingly getting worse at it. And I was like, how do I streamline my life? And I was like, well, you're super organized, and little did I know that you would just absolutely blow it out of the water. So Anna takes care of all my booking stuff.
I do.
If you're emailing, you're usually talking to her, you'll get text, but she's set it up in such a streamlined fashion that has made my life so much easier, and hopefully the lives of everybody that gets tattooed by me easier. And we've gotten tons of compliments on it. And I'm like, why didn't I do this before?
And it's interesting too, now knowing how it runs now, and then thinking back to, the first time we met at the coffee shop when I was just going over what you wanted it to look like. I was thinking about how did you function before this? I don't know how you did it.
It was just constantly 24/7 like and especially if you're not that busy, like, you know, when I was in Golden or anything, like I just had to always be, and my wife at the time was super pissed all the time because I just constantly like,
oh my gosh,
I have to answer this.
I always
because,
forget
like,
that you used to be married.
I did used to be married.
Many other lives.
Not no more, but everything's great.
Everything's great.
Gotta keep changing, gotta keep growing.
Yes.
That's my only advice, I guess. Just keep changing and growing.
That's good.
But yeah, those just little synchronicities where I had talked to other people about maybe running it, and it wouldn't have been the same. They wouldn't have made it as easy. Like, it's pretty easy on you as it is for me, where you don't have to do too much. It's all like just algorithm, like not algorithmic, but it's just
yeah, it's like a formula.
It's a formula.
Yeah.
It's just like, this needs to happen, this needs to happen. Like I said, just streamline. And yeah, we've gotten a bunch of compliments on it. And if any tattooers watching this need their books like just ran at an efficient level, I'd say talk to Anna, and she can just set it up, and you can either do it yourself or you can give her some money to do it. Either way. But that is how we know each other, and that's where we are now.
And we continue. And I also think another really good part about us working together, and I think I called it out too in the beginning, is just like not only with like the small steps to reaching your big goal, but also like we've talked a lot about this too, of just people pleasing and doing stuff that we think the other person wants us to do rather than what's actually going to be efficient and work. Mm-hmm. And I think that I hold you accountable in that way as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, are you sure this is what you want?
We have a lot more conversations than just work. I feel like it's just like you're my little support state. Like, I'm just like, Anna, this is happening. What do I do? And so I very much appreciate you for that. And I mean, what I was thinking about this morning that I mentioned to you earlier is we have a lot of varying opinions, and that we don't really see eye to eye, but we talk about it.
We do.
And in a good way, like a positive, like just like, hey, what's your thoughts on this? And all, like, I mean, a lot of things with whatever's going on today, I'll just be like, is this offensive? Is this like, what is, tell me more about this. And you'll kindly and not judgmentally kind of explain things to me that I'm like, oh, okay. And I think that's super important to have in friends or just in general in life.
Absolutely.
I think people like to be stuck in a vacuum. And that's kind of what I said to you before, that one time where I was like, I love talking to people that have different opinions about me, because I would always bring, you know, this is not a political podcast, so we won't even get into it.
It is. Don't let them lie to you.
It can be. I mean, it's just under the radar. I'm just trying to sneak my values and stuff in. But yeah, that not being in a vacuum. I love talking to people that have different opinions than me, and I think that's kind of lost a little bit today's.
It's lost. I think there is a lot of fear and like of rejection involved in those conversations, especially with people that are close to you. I mean, I feel very close to you in a sense, but I also respect you enough to know that like if you are having a conversation with me, and I know you respect me, so I know if you're going to come to me and have a conversation, I know you're coming at it with wanting to understand more about my viewpoints, not with the idea like, oh, I'm going to change this person's mind.
No,
or
I don't care about changing people's mind at
all. No, and I think that that's kind of where people go into those conversations assuming the worst.
Yeah. It's not that I don't want to change people's minds, I guess. On certain topics, it's like, it'd be nice if... It is a political podcast. It would, no politics involved, just on any kind of subject. Like, I think me and Dustin were talking, you know, mild conspiracy stuff on my last podcast where we just subtle hinted. But I just like getting people to question what they think. Because I've went back, forth on... I'm pretty, I don't know, malleable when it comes to opinion. Like, if you present me with some stuff, I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Yeah. All right. And I feel like I've went back and forth on the spectrum of those things a lot of times. So, and I was talking to another friend where, you know, questioning why. Just like, I think sometimes people are like, why is that like that? And it's, I think, important to do that. At least I do it with everything. That's why sometimes my brain is a wreck. But
I also think like people's views on a lot of stuff that goes on in the world is so strictly based on their experiences.
Well, yeah.
And where they've come from, what they've experienced, who they've been around, hardships they faced, how it affects them personally or loved ones around them. Like,
you really have to be able to step into other people's shoes if you want to be able to do that. Because like, it's tough.
It's really tough if you don't understand, you know, the way empathy.
In some,
it is
it's
empathy.
It's a great quality to have.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of tangent we were going on that. But.
Well, we were talking about how we can have conversations even though we very much disagree.
Yeah.
And not very much.
Super, but just little subtle things. But that's good. That's totally fine.
Yes.
I want to have a lot more people on here where we don't agree on stuff. I think that's kind of fun. And I keep touching this because I don't know what's happening. So just don't even think about it. Just don't think about it. It's fine.
Don't even think about it. No, but I appreciate it. I think I was talking to my mom actually and just said like, I really value that about our friendship, just that we can.
I very much do too.
Have those conversations, and I don't have a lot of people that I can have those conversations with because I think we have a very unique situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody can really replicate it.
I don't think so either.
But it's great.
It's fun. I enjoy it. I know that I'll just text you random shit and we'll see if she says anything at all.
But you'll also be like, I watched this crazy video, but I'm not going to send it to you because I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah, I'll do that too. I got some crazy videos on deck if you want some crazy videos.
I bet. A whole library.
People just send me stuff and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine sent me something on New Year's Eve and I was like, oh, this is how the year's starting, huh? Well, it's fun. And I won't even get into it. But it is interesting.
Oh, I have a van clam.
Oh, if you watched episode 1 with Dustin Leach, he gave me some van clams. Anna said she wanted one.
Yes. I heard about this
Wish granted.
Yes, I heard about this idea as soon as we started kind of linking up with the job stuff again. Like, instantly you were like, I want to make a podcast. I want to get my booking under control. And I want to start this creation to make this thing called a van clam. And I was like, okay. So you really did achieve all of your goals in 2022.
I didn't even do that. Like, I had somebody else do that for me, which I just thought it was going to be a ridiculous thing that would maybe stay on the back burner for the rest of its life. But now it's the prototype is real. So you got to put that on your car. And in that one, you can paint any color you want. So, you know.
What should I paint it?
I don't know. You could paint a pink. You could paint a blue. Colors are just colors. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. It's whatever. Just because you're a girl doesn't mean it's got to be pink, you know?
Exactly.
But van clams, probably. I don't know. Wouldn't want the blue. I don't know.
That would look a little rough.
Yeah,
that would look a little rough. I got these bougie seltzers.
Seltzer. Usually I have a nice alcoholic beverage in front of me because it helps me relax. And I enjoy it. I know that it's not the best for me, but Anna, how many days have you been sober now?
It is almost exactly a year and 6 months. It'll be a year and a half on January 10th.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's very nice. And I mean, I watched a podcast this morning where a gentleman was talking about dopamine, and that kind of like can loop into this a little bit. Where,
oh my gosh, yes.
You know, just like our dopamine levels, and I don't know anything. This was just what I heard and probably terribly regurgitated. But you know, this baseline of dopamine and alcohol, nicotine, doing well, and pretty much anything, you know, spikes that dopamine.
Yeah.
Artificially, and then it'll drop down under that baseline, and then you need more and more to get that good feeling. I mean, you know, everybody's felt anxious as hell after a real fun night, and then it takes more and more and more to kind of fight that. And it's like, shit. So not having to do that all the time must be really nice, but also. I love it. I've always been like, I need to do this, but I'm like, no. But also I like to just have one and be done. Really.
Yeah. See, I didn't just have one and be done, and that's why I had to quit drinking. But before that, I mean, I always tell people too, like a lot of people, if I, you know, have something really awesome happen, they're like, I hope you are going to go celebrate with a beverage, especially if they don't know that I'm sober. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, oh no, like I spent 14 years of my life really, really celebrating hard. Like, I think I drank enough in that time for my entire life.
Yeah, I've definitely, like, I was in a fraternity, weird, but definitely did my fair share of not even celebrating anything, just like,
right, you're
hey,
just like,
it's Tuesday.
It's, 3 p.m.
Might as well get blackout drunk. And
yeah.
just apologies to everybody that knew me during that time, I guess. I mean, I'm sure it was a great time. But
it was a great time. I will say, you know, when it stops being a great time when you are no longer in college and still going at that pace, and then you're like, ooh.
I don't know if I could physically do it now.
Yeah.
I had a couple drinks the other night, and I was like, woke up the next day, and I was just like,
no way.
Like, I just,
Hangovers,
even feeling,
man.
not even like really hungover, but just feeling a little off. Just off. Like, I felt like I had, like, the connection to, like, the spirit realm, like, was severed. Like, I was just like,
yeah.
Which is an interesting way to think. Yeah.
No, I mean, the big thing that I noticed with my sobriety and stopping, completely cutting it out, like cold turkey alcohol, but I was like, my cognition, like, I'm like functioning differently.
Yeah.
My thought process, like, my brain is working differently.
Yeah. It's just rewiring the brain, and it's probably it's that dopamine level that, like, you know, you're just like trying to get back to that baseline to where different things.
And not only, it's interesting that you say that about dopamine too, because even like going up, sometimes like you just go up to go up. You don't even realize that it's not aligning with who you are, or you're acting in a way that's not like true to who you want to be. And then you just want to race and rush and get that dopamine, like whether it's taking shots or getting hit on at a bar, or
also
it's fun. Yep. And you get a dopamine rush. And I remember like the feeling that I got like drinking or pre-gaming or getting ready to go to bars and doing that like in the last 2 years. Like it's an addiction for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And we're not telling anybody how to live their life. You do whatever you want. It's just, I think it's fun, like, conversation. Like, man, that would be so beneficial in so many ways to people that, you know, sometimes if I'm getting a little anxious and I'm like, ooh, I try to fight it where I'm like, oh, I need a beer. Just like, because it's like, oh, you know, and usually it just makes you even more anxious because that's kind of what it does.
Yes.
But science.
Yeah, no, it's wild. When I took a sociology class in college, and part of it, we got a list of descriptions of drugs and like the symptoms. We also got a list of whether they were legal or not, and like a bunch of effects of them, and we had to match them up with the drug. And a lot of people mismatched alcohol because they thought just because it was illegal, or just because it was legal, that it was going to have less effect on the body or less effect on like addiction rate and all this stuff, and not at all. It's
a celebrated thing where it's just like so ingrained in our culture of like,
it's
hey,
cultural.
this, and that's like, I don't know, part of me that's like, oh, I need to go sober in these times or whatever. It's like, well, you know, you got the race or you got Thanksgiving.
Yes.
It's like, what am I gonna do? It's like, you just sit and have a good time with the people around you. Like,
yes,
it's a real easy thing to kind of just like link with, I need this to have a good time, or I need this to be around people, which is not the case.
Not the case, and I couldn't do it, but I also get too, now that I'm sober, like sometimes people just want a day drink, and I'm like, whatever, like rock and roll. Like if that's what you want to do and you're able to live your life in a functional way,
absolutely,
that's great. Like just like we were saying earlier,
it's working in your own best interest.
Yeah.
Like, well, it might not ever be your own best interest, but if it's not harming, there's balance. People that can balance, like myself, I know plenty.
Yes.
I know plenty of folks that are unable to balance.
Right. And I think that balance is key. And I think if you can't find that balance with alcohol, then like you should consider changing your behavior with it or your relationship with it. And
this New Year's Eve, my cousin was in town who did some time in jail for, you know, some certain actions, and has been an addict, you know, a decent amount of his life, and now he's, you know, sober years and just one of the best people I know. And he's like, hey, I'm in town, do you want to hang out? And it's New Year's Eve, and I was like, I would love to.
Yeah.
And we just hung out and chilled, and I had maybe a beer or two, and we watched some stellar American playoff football games for college.
Yes, those were insane.
They were so good. And then I woke up the next morning and I was like, I feel great.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And then
Yeah.
we went climbing, and that's how we started the new year. And I was like, this is a very different. I've remembered a new year where I was puking, and then I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, you look terrible. And I was like, all right, next year's going to be the one.
Yes.
But not make any steps to kind of.
No, I would be like, I remember towards the end, before I got sober, I would be like puking in my toilet. I would look over and see my cat just staring at me judgmentally and be like, oh my fucking God. I should never drink again. Yeah.
That's so
but,
fun.
you know.
And then you forget a couple days, and like,
Yes.
that's how you would go in the past.
Yes, in the past, no. And that was the funniest thing too, is, you know, I would mention to my mom, like, how I'm struggling with drinking and all this stuff. And she's like, well, why don't you just, and she would give me every, like, possible solution to my drinking problem besides get sober. Where it's like, why don't you just drink water every other drink? Or why don't you just bring cash to the bar? And I'm like, it never works.
Yeah, you'll find a way.
It
could be like that. Just, hey, why don't you just stop drinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you, yeah. It was just really.
A lot of life lessons to be learned.
A lot of life lessons. Yeah, a lot of life lessons. And also just like how you see how acceptable it is to drink really heavily in your 20s. And so a lot of people will disregard that behavior as, oh, you're just in your 20s, you'll grow out of it. And a lot of people don't know how to notice the signs of, like, maybe you're not growing out of it.
Yeah. Why are you excessively going at it over and over and over again when this might not, like I said, be in your best interest? Yeah. It's so celebrated. Just like, I remember just doing like a beer Olympics. Like, you're 20, it's fine, you can drink. But I remember like everybody going at it, and everybody was hammered within the first 45 minutes.
Yes.
And then I was like asleep, or should have been asleep, one of the two. I was like, this person, I don't know.
Or even, like, can we talk about some of, like, the weird college drinking games that were strictly just based on drinking? Like, the only goal was to get blacked out as quickly as possible.
I would love to talk about those things.
Okay.
That's like a power hour.
Yes, a power hour. Power hour, and, like,
before we go to the bar, let's
Yes.
do this power hour, which is, I think it's just like a playlist, an hour long.
Yes.
Song changes every minute. You take a shot of beer. Is that
Yeah, you take a drink.
a shot of beer, which equals out to a lot.
It's a lot.
Before you would go out.
I did a power half hour where I finished an entire 6-pack of beer in a half an hour, which you would think is not that big of a deal, but that was pre-gaming New Year's.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. Or like, did you ever do like key in a fifth in college?
I never did
Okay.
that one.
Well, all of my friends that were in fraternities would always have me come over during key in a fifth because they would want me to be their partner. And the reason it's called key in a fifth is everybody brings a fifth of any liquor to this party. And you're supposed to have handcuffs with a key, and you lock handcuffs with a partner. And you put the key in the bottom of the fifth, and you have to drink the entire fifth of liquor. And the first person to get the key out and unlock your handcuffs wins.
Oh my God.
So we would just slam.
That's so intense. I never had to do that. Thank God. I'd be in rough shape.
Yeah.
Definitely like the Edward 40 hands.
I've done Edward 40
Which is just gross because
hands.
it just got warm. If you didn't
Yeah.
just chug it, and then you're just
Yeah.
then you just got beer taped to your hands.
It's wild.
I'm very happy that I went to college in a time when video recording on your phone wasn't a thing for me. Like, there's no uploading. I remember like a couple pictures, but there was no like people videoing the entire night. Like, it seems what kids do today.
Yes, and they do, but I mean, I even will look back at some of the photos that were posted, you know, like on Facebook, and it's just like clear, right, exactly. It's like there's no light in your eyes, and you're like, oh my God, I had
Like,
such a fun time, and like your
person-
grandma comments on it. It's like, you look great, honey, and I'm like, no, I'm plastered.
That person's dead inside.
Yes.
Yeah, that person's not in this reality.
And you wake up, and you're like, so and so tagged you in a photo, and you're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, and just not having, I don't know, I never really had that anxiety at that time. But it's like, oh, it could have been bad.
Snapchat started when I was a freshman in college.
See, I think I got an iPhone when I was a senior in college. So that's good.
Okay.
Because I remember, so I remember
that. We're not like generations apart. We're only like a few years apart.
But that's how fast it kind of changed. I remember like a friend getting an iPhone and me, like everybody making fun, and then like Facebook was there, but I think I just had it on like laptop
computer
or something. Yep. It wasn't anything that I carried around in my pocket. And then all of a sudden, everywhere, everything, all the time.
Can never escape.
It's fine. We're here now. Thank you for watching this on your phone, probably.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thanks, technology, for. We'll see. Yeah. You think Terminator? I heard an interesting. This has nothing. Oh yeah. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Technology work better, but also
what
thank you.
Saying?
I didn't know that, and this kind of blows my mind. This has nothing to do with anything. Just off topic. The same person that wrote Terminator wrote The Matrix. Like the Terminator was supposed to be like a prequel to The Matrix almost, where you have AI and then and she's also a woman of color. I had no idea, but she wrote the storylines.
Would you hate me if I said I've never seen Terminator or The Matrix?
I don't hate you, but I think it's ludicrous, really. Yeah. I think this is over.
God, actually, I will never talk to you again.
The Matrix is such a good movie, and like, it's so good. Very thought-provoking. I would watch it.
This is not a political podcast.
No. That has nothing to do with it. It's just a good movie. That's always it. And also, you might wake up. Wake up, folks. No. Yeah. But Terminator's great, too. I mean, you could watch... 2's definitely the best, which if people just prove me wrong, just tell me whatever in the comments. But I like 2.
I'm going to watch it just to prove you wrong.
You're going to be like, this is great. We're going to go upstairs. We're going to cut this out. We're going to go upstairs and we're watching movies instead. Actually, I'll just put it on.
6 hours later.
I'll get a TV right here and we'll all watch it together.
Could you imagine?
But The Matrix is one of my favorite movies for sure. I'll watch it anytime I'm feeling down.
Nice.
Yeah. Follow your dreams. You can be the one. Like, why do you want to be the like a character in somebody else's story, Speaking
of movies.
Okay, what you got?
There are 2 movies that if I watch them, I immediately think of the Leonard family. Can you think of those 2 movies?
It's probably Dumb and Dumber and I would say like it is the Leonard family as a whole. Dumb and Dumber is one, and then I don't know what the other one would be. Maybe like Vacation or something.
Ooh,
just with like a goofy,
that was a good guess.
Just with like a goofy
Dumb and Dumber, 100%.
Yep.
100%. I remember you quoting that all the time.
I still do.
Yes, you still do. And remember the Titans because of your dad. Your dad would. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I get why. And my little sister was that little girl, basically.
Exactly. And I remember we went into one of the buildings on campus, and he put it on the projector. This was like during a snow day. Your dad, I mean, we could talk about his dad at length if we needed to.
I'm gonna have him on here pretty soon. He was helping me He helped me move this stuff up, and it's gonna be a very interesting conversation. I'm gonna hit him with a hard question.
I'm very excited. He will.
He'll watch this. He watched the last one with Dustin. And he's like, man, that's so fun. And
well, then this is gonna be very sweet because I was gonna say he was like the most wonderful father figure growing up for the first because when did I start hanging out with Emily? I was 3. I was little.
Yeah, because I would have been 8 or something.
Yeah,
like
I was 3 or 4 when we started hanging out every day, all the time. But I mean, I would say for the 6 years after that, he taught me how to ride a bike. He was there when I jumped off the diving board for the first time. He would always let me come over. He would teach me He would just teach me so much about bravery, I think, and taking risks, but also just such a cool, safe dude.
Just a real genuine human being, which is almost disgusting to a point.
Well, you're just constantly waiting for the shoe to drop, and then I'm okay, again, almost 25, 30 years later, I'm the shoe never drops. Yeah, he's such a good dude.
Shout out, Pops. Yeah, I got extremely lucky. And I, for a long time during my adolescence and my early 20s, just kind of fighting that.
Yeah.
There's got to be, something. And, I sent you text the other day where, growing up, I'll show people text messages that my dad sends me, and it's almost like people are that's your dad, and your dad sends you. Geez, like how lucky are you? And it's just like, hey son, thinking of you. Hope you have a great day. Just like stuff like that, and that's where I get all this shit from. But and then I do it to people now, and I'm like, oh God. But there's something to it, People
There's
like hearing that stuff.
And it's so nice. Like I'll even they'll be random. I'll either wake up and you'll send a text like later at night or early in the morning, and you're like, well, let's have a great day, or you're awesome. And I'm like, this just like jump starts my day. So like, what did you? Can I read? Have you on the other podcast? Did you read that text that you had posted that your dad sent you on?
I didn't read it on the other one.
New Year's.
What was that New Year's?
Can I read it?
You can read it.
This is amazing.
I woke up so angry, but yeah, read it.
Well, because I had just left your house and you were just like, I'm really excited to host my family for Christmas, and I'm like, yeah, it's really awesome. And then this says, Bart, I want to let you know that I just got up and I just tested positive. The good news is that I only test for attitude. So we look forward to having fun at your home for Christmas. It's going to be a great day, Dad.
And what's my reply?
You said stupid, LOL.
Yeah.
But it's funny, and you pointed it out yourself, but like, when I read that, I almost said, like, this sounds exactly like something you would send me. Like, this is a little bit more thought out, but you send stuff with the same tone.
Yeah, it is, like, it's definitely rubbed off on me, and I'm like, truly grateful that kind of, like, the other day my friends were over, and we were working on my camper and stuff, and I was like, man, how did you guys learn all this? Like, was it like, I was like, what, did your dads teach you, like, how to be, like, mechanically sound and stuff? And one guy was like, no, my dad's dead. And the other one was like, no, I did it out of necessity. I was like, okay, my bad. And it was all fun after that. But I was like, yeah, my dad only, like, really just taught me how to have a positive attitude on, like, most everything. And they were like, oh, that's way more helpful. And I was like, yeah, it is. And it made me feel good. But
he's a great guy. He
is a great guy. I'm excited to have him on this. And he's watching now. I'm like, your days are numbered, buddy. So it'll be fun. I owe a lot to him. And yeah, like when I called him and told him that, I was bouncing ideas of what the podcast will be called, and he had a bunch of goofy ones, and then even the shop, like getting the shop name was all kind of, Great Day Tattoo. Like my dad always said, like, it's not going to be a good day. Pause. It's not going to be a great day. Or the most cringe thing is like when we're at a restaurant and like somebody comes up and like, oh, how's your food? And he just goes, it wasn't good. Pause. It was great.
Yeah.
It's just like
every time.
And you're just sitting there and you're like, oh, this poor person, like whoever it is. But it's fun. I don't know. Yeah. I think it's a little bit, there's something to that. Just trying to uplift people as much as you can. Yeah. It's done a great job. But yeah. Dad, thumbs up. Thanks.
Thumbs up.
What were we talking about right before that? How'd we get on Dad?
I don't know.
That's great.
Well, I think I brought movies.
The movies that we
yes,
I always talk. I had
The Matrix.
I love tracing back a conversation to its origin, where I was the one that completely went off, and I was like, "Did you hear about this? It's crazy." And before that, it was just technology. Yeah, we were talking about technology. Yeah. Anyways,
you were the first person. This is something interesting that we could talk about. Is you were the first person to show me AI art. I don't know if you want to talk at all about that, but
we can. I don't have any agenda. This may look like I have an agenda, like I have this book, but really it's just like two things written down, and then we just kind of see how it goes. Yeah. So if you want any structure or order, you've come to the wrong place. You've come to the wrong place.
This is a political podcast.
Yeah, the AI art. Yeah. By the way, no. But wait, is it January 6th?
No.
No, it's the 4th. I was gonna say last time I was tattooing. This is my basement, and I tattooed out of here for a while. And last January,
it was 2 Januaries ago.
Time flies.
That was 2 Januaries ago.
January 6th. The terrible. We don't need to talk about this.
We don't need to talk about it at all. But the funny part is I came to get tattooed, and I just said, "Hey, so can we turn the news on?" And you were like, "Why?" And I'm like, there's people getting into the Capitol building," and you were like, "No." And then we like put on some heavy metal music. And it was great.
I was like, "Nope, we're not gonna watch that. Yeah. We'll find out about it. Yeah. We can't do anything."
No, exactly.
We didn't.
But that is
that was
memorable.
almost 2 years ago. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, "Oh, wow." But what were we an intro AI art?
AI art. You were the first person to show me that. And it's interesting because we can loop in social media. I like did one of those AI art generators for like my own face. And I remember I was like, oh, these are actually kind of cool. And I paid $7.99 for them. Like, I know it's not real art. Like, I know I'm not like investing in art, but I saw some major threads of people being like, if I see anybody post their AI art, I'm deleting you and never talking to you again because you hate art. I'm like,
it's this extremism, really.
Yeah,
it's like how it goes like so quick to jump. Like, I get it. Like, somebody's making money. It's super silly, but it goes back to that instant gratification, like of like today's society. It's like I'm gonna pay $7.99, get 10 pictures of myself painted beautifully right now instead of like
commission it.
Pay an artist like a couple $100 to do that and take weeks. So I get it. Like, it's super cool.
But I also wasn't using it for art, right? I was just using it to see what the AI would come up with.
It's hot and trendy. It's super cool. I think it's when people are like selling AI art as their own. I don't know. It's a gray area. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, if you want, like, I like what I like in my home, or like what I like to look at is like big abstracty pieces. And there's been some cool like AI stuff. I don't have an opinion on it. I think it's goofy, but I don't. If you do that, I'm gonna unfollow you and hate you for like. I get the artist's perspective on it, like.
Oh, 100%.
But I've used it before. Like, there's this website, you know, you can type. I think we were just like typing. I think it was like Dolly or something like that, and we were just typing in a bunch of random shit.
I was like, whoa.
And there was some cool stuff that came up, like where I can type a bunch of stuff up and just draw something that's super random, but it was kind of cool to see it in different styles. Like, I was trying to do stuff for Bonfire Burritos, where it was like chupacabra in the woods with fire and or like a burrito ascending into heaven, and I wanted to see what the computer would come up with, and I would use that.
We may have to stop.
No, hold on. Time out real fast.
We may have to stop.
No, I got it.
We're timing out. We're at 37 minutes.
No, we're good. I just have to figure out something real fast because that should be working, but it's not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make an executive decision and unplug that and see if that totally messes us up. That's the battery. So this is only my first few times doing this. It looks like the microphone's still picking us up, so I think we're good.
It is, yeah.
Unplugged so I don't get any of these soundboard things, which I haven't even used.
There you go.
I need to, though. I need to start hitting these applause, laughter buttons all the time, so.
Yeah. It's all right.
Let's see if it works still. Sure doesn't, because I
work.
unplugged it.
It doesn't work.
That's what happens when you unplug things.
Yep.
Thank you for that brief. I need to see if I could edit in like a boop, please stand by thing during that. But this is all one shot recording. Raw footage.
You get the raw.
I haven't reached that point in my career yet where I'm still learning all this stuff. It's a lot to figure out. I thought it was gonna be easy. Like, oh, just plug a microphone into this and just have this program. A lot of learning to be done.
I like that though.
I like it too.
Lifelong learner.
Yeah, I'm down for it. I've had a lot of people help along the way that are like, and sometimes I like to figure it out the hard way too. Where I'm like, I'll figure it out, and then I don't.
Yeah. Are you throw the manual directions away kind of guy?
Yeah, no, there's manuals to all the stuff I didn't.
Oh, for sure.
I have 2 microphones now, but I can only get one to work because I need to figure out some stuff. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.
Cool.
But, yeah,
we were wrapping up our conversation on AI art.
Yeah, I don't. It's whatever. Yeah. It looks cool. It can serve a purpose, but when it gains its own intelligence and starts paying things, and people stop paying actual artists to do things, which I don't know if you'll ever get to that point.
See, that was my thing too.
I mean, people are getting tattoos from machines and stuff like CNC routed, but I think the human touch is something that'll be lost in the future. Yeah,
and I think people right now are craving that more than ever, really. So
yeah, I definitely think I've met a lot of people that it's just like it seems lonely. Like there's like a loneliness that's kind of like
They say it's an epidemic, and they say there's like a loneliness epidemic happening.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? You seem skeptical.
No, I'm definitely a believer, but don't get me started on what I think the.
Oh, I know what
I
know what you think a big factor is.
Like I think just like there's been this cut off from like the spirit realm or something like kind of a little bit deeper, and you can take that however you want to.
Yeah,
I don't really care.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like something that, you know, somebody who's been diving into a little bit more spiritualistic stuff and feeling a little bit more reconnected. I'm really excited about that retreat that I'm going on next week.
Yeah.
3-day fast silent retreat. If you know me, that's my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Like I'm eating whatever, I can do that, but being silent and with only this and like a notepad, I'm interested. I'm interested to see what kind of ideas come out. But I think it is that, like, and that's like a way to reconnect. You know, too much where phone technology, not as much people. Like even just texting people. Like I prefer calling people, which is kind of people get like, what do you want? It's like, well, I just want to talk to you. I mean, I guess a lot of people like FaceTime now, though. Yeah. Which I don't do that because I don't believe in it.
Yeah, I think there was a like dip in that for a while, but I do, just from working with middle schoolers right now, like in this day and age, like Gen Zers, they love FaceTiming. They love face-to-face stuff. I
think it's better for sure, except when you're in public, like at the airport.
Don't FaceTime people in public.
I had an argument with somebody because I was like a friend, they were like FaceTiming, and I was like, what the hell are you doing? They're like, what's the difference if this person was standing right next to me? And I'm like, I get that part of the argument.
The volume's kind of louder, though.
Yeah. I don't know. And it
like
just
seems
like it's a private conversation that you are... I don't know. I understood that argument, though. Like, what's the difference if this person was just here? But
I thought that, too.
I've heard some interesting conversations at 5 a.m. at the Indianapolis airport. I'm just like, what are you guys talking about right now? Like,
man,
you don't want me to listen, but you are...
Some of the, like, juiciest gossip I've heard is...
some headphones.
Yes. Some of the juiciest gossip I've heard has just been, like, overhearing people talk about things in public places, and they just don't know who's listening.
Or they don't care.
But sometimes I'm like, you're giving some, like...
Some juicy goods.
Some juicy gossip about, like, specific people that I'm like, you don't know that I don't know this person or not. Right?
Yeah,
sometimes I do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just found out all this gossip.
Oh, see, that's fun. I don't know. I think the FaceTiming in public, I would definitely say stop it. But live your life. I don't care. I'm not going to do anything about it. I'll just make fun of you later.
Oh, I'm not going to. I would never say anything about it. I'm just silently judging.
Yeah,
I'll be texting, be like, you will not believe that
somebody's on FaceTime. My gosh, listen to this.
I will FaceTime somebody and say, you'll never believe who's FaceTiming.
But it's hard to get people's emotions and stuff through text. I've had a lot of lost funniness go through text, you know?
Yeah.
You need that. And going back to that human interaction and touch and getting rid of the loneliness, I think it's too much texting and things get lost, certain nuances and stuff.
Yeah, I grew up in a weird time too. I got my first flip phone when I was in 8th grade. And I remember I would hang out with like my boyfriend at the time, and we would text each other, but like next to each other. I know.
Well, it depends if somebody's in the room and you're just like, you know.
That's a little different than being like.
But it was just
I'm
chilling.
nervous to like hold your hand.
That's pathetic.
And well, that makes me. Well, it is kind of. It makes me sad. I'm like, holy cow.
Look at you now.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's that's I'm trying to think if I had any weird. I don't think so.
Oh, I remember all weird stuff.
I've sent some weird text messages. Sorry to anybody who was during drinking time.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Full circle.
Full circle.
No, but,
full circle.
I mean, I think one last another thing that I want to get into is like, you know, if you don't know this already. Anna's kind of a big deal. Not so much for doing all this stuff for me and doing her own thing, but also on the interwebs, on TikTok. Pretty happening. And it is, like, that's when my sister, like, when you started doing stuff for me, my sister was like, is Anna TikTok famous? And not to like toot your horn, nothing or anything
no,
like that, but it's so funny because
she
was like, one of my friends shared a video and it was you.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, pretty cool. I was like, yep, she helps me book tattoos and she's also this and does a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how I think we both are, is we have our hands in a lot of different stuff and we just like to do a bunch of different things. Yeah. But it's all kind of like education tied to, because you used to be a guidance counselor at school, and then you quit that.
They're called school counselors now.
School counselors, no guidance involved.
Yeah, I'd get canceled if I didn't correct you. So
don't correct me. I don't want to be canceled either. I've gone this far. I'm trying to do everything I can.
But yes.
School counselors.
Yes.
My pen. So, and then obviously there's problems with the education system. Yeah. I don't think anybody is like, no, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has that argument.
Nobody has that argument, things that are perfect. There are some people that have the argument that like it's not actually happening, or that teachers are whining about it, or that like they knew what was going to be going on when they went into it. Mm-hmm. I've heard that a lot, but yeah, I'm on TikTok and that's been kind of a trip. That's been wild.
Yeah, just speaking your mind and getting some stuff out. Did you think that it was gonna blow? Like how many followers? Does that matter?
Yeah, I'm almost at 70,000 followers.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
I'd say that's a lot. That's a lot of interaction and a lot to like do. And then I know you took a break from it recently.
I did for 2 months.
Because, I mean, does it get to that point where it's like, oh, I have to say things in order to keep these followers appeased, basically?
Yeah, it felt like that for a little bit. I took a break because I noticed myself being more pressured about posting frequently rather than posting quality stuff that was like aligned with who I was. So I took a little break just to be sure, because when I took my break, I think I was at 40,000 followers, but I really wanted to be like, okay, do I want to keep doing this thing? Because if I am, I can take this off and go wherever if I really wanted to. Yeah. Or do I want to stop? And if I want to stop, kind of now's the time. I had that conversation like internally, and I realized I wanted to keep going because of just the amount of feedback that I've gotten.
And it's a voice for people that are like, you're very articulative and you think about your posts, obviously, and they're very well put together. I listen to some of them, no, I'm just kidding. They're great.
Thank you.
But it just, I lost my whole train of thought with that.
It's okay. I was talking about thinking things through and posting them, and you asked me if I thought it was going to take off the way it did, and the answer is no. I was kind of on TikTok a little bit here and there just from being a counselor, and my kids started talking about TikTok. I'm going to say kids, I mean students. They started talking about TikTok my first year that I worked in education, which was 2017. So TikTok was around for a while, but it just kind of blew up because I think businesses started using it and marketing people started using it.
It's a great tool.
The algorithm is insane.
Except when I first got it. Because people were like, were sending me so many videos on it, like funny videos and stuff, and I was like, that's funny. All right, cool, I'll get one. And my algorithm to start with, I was like, the world is going to end. This is the worst shit I've ever seen in my whole life. Yeah. It was an interesting thing. And now it's just, definitely the world is going to end, just more appeal to me. Like, it's just all like, oh God, like, why am I liking, like, what do I care? I don't know, it's just another thing for distraction and dopamine.
It is a distraction and dopamine loop, 100%.
Yeah. People will watch a lot. And I've made a couple, and I'm just like, the amount of effort that
it takes a lot.
It took me a second, and then there's different apps that people have shown me for this kind of thing where it puts it all together for you, and it can be really quick. But then it's just that technology, spending money, but it's a great advertising tool for businesses and all that stuff, and to stay relevant.
Relevancy, networking. I mean, I was in Bloomberg Business. I was in New York Times. And that was from TikTok.
That's what I'm saying. It's big time.
Toot toot. No. But I was contacted because of my TikToks going viral, and the first TikTok that went viral for me initially was, especially about education, was when I quit. And I posted it was a couple of minutes long of me just ranting about how I'm quitting, or I did quit, and I had nothing lined up, and I was freaking out, but it was okay, and I was going to figure it out. And it was kind of like a PSA to people, like, quit your job.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to, like,
if you can't make something better, then go make it better on your own. Like, if people aren't going to take your advice on, like, hey, this is how I think, you know, it could be better, and you're literally, you know, just hand-tied. Yeah. And you got to go do it on your own. And you quit your job, and then I was happy that you did, because then now I have this opportunity, but now you're doing much more things. You're doing the foundation for...
So for Marlon Jackson, so his...
Colts player.
Former Colts player. He's one of a lot of people say he's the cornerback for the Colts, like the most famous, infamous cornerback for his AFC championship.
Good job, Marlon.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Interception of Tom Brady. But yeah, no, I work for his foundation, and it's fantastic, and I love it. And not only do I like the mission, which is to help, you know, underserved students and children that are a part of youth development organizations. So we primarily work in schools, which is a great connection, but we kind of serve as a data and support infrastructure for youth development programs to help schools see exactly what barriers are coming up for students that get in the way of learning. So, and it's all based on football, and it's a gamified approach for students. So they are really, really invested in the platform itself, and they give information about, you know, what their stress levels are, what their emotions are like, what they need at home, what they have, what they don't have. And it helps schools intervene pretty quickly, which is nice.
And it's that thing where you were having trouble with, you know, the education system and whatever, so you kind of like, instead of, you know, getting locked in with not being able to do that stuff at your school, you kind of like, well, I can help these kids in the same way. Yeah. Not obviously like everyday type thing, but it's like a foundation, like you're still making a difference. You just kind of have to do it your own way.
In a way that doesn't like make me a martyr or make me sacrifice a lot of my time and energy.
Yeah.
And
always like the teacher pay and everything. Like, hey, you guys deserve more. We love you.
We love you, for sure. No, I mean, I read a statistic too that like teachers are making way less than they were 10 years ago because of inflation.
And that's what and like to say this, like anybody that's watching that has any ideas, because I brought this up to you before, and I think you sent me a foundation, like I want to do like a flash day for teachers, you know, whether it be like little tattoos of teacher related things like apples, books, just to sum them up into those two things. Yeah. But just stuff like that, and then be able to help give to, you know, supplies or anything like that. So that's definitely something that's in the old noggin cooking up. So
yeah, I think I said, like, you know, I want it to go directly to teachers, and I think it's hard when you donate to foundations because you don't know if it's going to directly go to them. So I think, I was like, hit up the Irvington IPS elementary school, and
that was my
the PTO there. That would be a great. Any sort of PTO is great, immediate to teachers and students. Like there's a lot less red tape than other things. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a year. I'm excited for 2023 though.
Yeah, it's just another day. I try not to think of it as like here, but it is setting those intentions and those progressions and see, you know, kind of reflect. Yeah. Yeah, 2022 was a wild one. It was definitely a roller coaster. And I don't anticipate this being any less of a roller coaster, but maybe just a gentler ride would be cool. I feel like I was on the Beast last year, just like freaking.
Yeah, the Beast was my first roller coaster I ever rode.
It's a good one. I rode it. Not too long ago. And
Kings Island.
It still beats the shit out of you, for sure.
It's a good one.
Not bad. Yeah. Okay. Shit.
You ready?
We did I don't know. I got no agenda. I just like super thankful for everybody that agrees to sit and talk with me for an hour with all my technological problems and
no, you do
helping
great.
me figure this out.
You do great. You are, I know you were thanking me, but it's just you're a great guy and you like have the best intentions, and I know sometimes, you know, you doubt yourself in the role you play, but like you are a great person.
Hey, you're a great person.
Thank you.
Let's make it great. I don't.
Let's make it great.
I just always feel like
a political podcast.
I wish it's not political. Everything wants to be political. It's just people have asked me like, what's the theme? And I'm like, I don't know, whatever I feel like talking about that day. And if people listen, then that's crazy. But I do think, like, I'll say this, like, we're setting up stuff. I always bounce these ideas off Anna, and, you know, my idea is to have some sort of, you know, reward/subscription based thing where this leads to.
Yeah.
You know, kind of start off with a newsletter they can subscribe to, you know, subscribe to this. And then in the future, you know, I might try to do, like, you know, if you subscribe for this much money every month, you get like a special t-shirt, or you get to go on this retreat thing. It's the gears are turning, and I'll slowly figure it out. But there is like a goal to all of this, I think.
What's the goal?
I think that's the goal, is to just help people and have like fun, great experiences with people, like getting like a bigger group of people together, and having like fun events.
Yeah.
And then just talking to great people that are doing great things that like I said, I have a ton of friends that are doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I like talking. I have fun doing it. I do it all day, and it's just one-on-one. And I feel like me and that one-on-one person have a really good conversation, a really great time while I'm tattooing. How can I share that? It's kind of like how, because like somebody had, and I'd talked about it before, possibly on one that I haven't released, but somebody's like, well, you could just Twitch stream like you tattooing that person. I was like, yeah, but then it's not as personal.
Yeah.
And it'd be kind of boring, because
Yeah.
everybody would hear the same jokes 100,000 times. Whereas like I'm having these new experiences with people coming on, talking, and it's just fun. I don't know. Like whether people will watch it or not, I think it's a fun.
I think that's awesome.
Thing. Yeah.
That's great.
So thank you. We really appreciate you.
We appreciate
everyone. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
But you got to make it one, because nobody's going to give it to you.
No.